Okay. So last year, I believe it was around March, April, somewhere around like the spring, I had binged the first season of Shadow's House. And I remember enjoying it. I liked it a lot. I remember really liking like some of the aspects of the premise. I really liked its atmosphere and like the art direction. Like it's a very like thematically there's definitely some dark elements, but it's like a physically dark show, which I just thought was really cool. And I remember wanting to watch season 2, didn't get around to it. And so when I was kind of going through like what are some shows off the top of my head that I want to watch by the end of the year, it's like okay, like I got to finish Witch from Mercury. I just found out Symphogear existed. I need to watch that. One of the ones is like I need to watch the second season of Shadow's House because I really liked season 1. I'm gonna watch it in October. It's a pretty good like October themed experience, so we're gonna do that. So I went ahead and like, excuse me, just like a couple minutes ago, just finished watching the first 2 episodes. So from what I remember of season 1, so again, this is gonna be full spoilers for season 1 and for the episodes I watched as well. The premise is the house, the eponymous Shadow's house, is occupied by living shadow people. Like they're essentially just silhouettes with like dresses and nice suits. They have very nice outfits, by the way. I really like them. And each shadow is accompanied by a living doll, which the way it is presented is like we created homunculi, and each shadow has their own doll. And what the doll does, it's essentially you are that shadow's servant. You help them out with shit. You also do like basic chores around the house to help other shadows and whatnot. You help with the cleaning because there's soot everywhere because they're all soot people. But your job specifically is to be your shadow's face. There's a silhouette. There's nothing to see. But it's like you are the one who is supposed to know your shadow well enough to be their face, to show their expression, etc., etc. So your 2 main characters are Emilico, which is the doll, and Kate, which is the shadow. And all shadows refer to themselves in the third person, which I love because it just makes everything still a little more off. Because I feel like whenever there's a character in like an anime that refers to themselves in third person, they're either it's like they're super adorable and it's just like their character tick, or they're really off. And it's one of the things to show how off they are. It's like they don't see themselves as an I or me. It's them. It's weird and I dig it. So the fact that all shadows do it, it just makes it fucking weird. It's like they're not really people, or they're not people yet. It's just important. So, when new shadows are created, essentially they go through like an orientation. And if the shadow and their doll pass the orientation, you come of age, and it's like now you can start really living in the house and start being useful to our Lord Grandfather, the master of the housekeeper, the zoo, etc., etc. If you fail, essentially that shadow is discarded. And I don't know if the characters know what happens to the doll, but the doll stays, because there's a lot of like these hooded servants that you don't see their faces. That's what happens to the dolls that don't pass. It's like, hey, I mean, it's still free labor. What are you going to do? Stop using your free labor? No. There's a point where you find out that the living dolls are not dolls. They are just dead-ass children who get kidnapped and are like brainwashed, hypnotized into thinking that, like, forgetting all their memories of their life and living as a doll. When you come of age, the dolls are drinking a special coffee infused with soot. I don't remember if this is specifically Lord Grandfather's ability, because some shadows have soot powers. Why not? I think it's kind of cool. Oh, hi, Bahamut. You just wanted to sit near me while I was recording? What a sweet baby. What a sweet boy. But the soot in the coffee will brainwash and hypnotize the dolls further to essentially keep them subservient forever. And as you find out in the first couple episodes of season 2, they give the coffee every week. It's like, all right, just to make sure that it's still working, you're gonna stay brainwashed and you're gonna be ours forever. At some point, I don't know when in a Shadow's life this happens. I think the only examples we've seen are full adults. But the Shadow, I guess like the end game is for the Shadow to possess the person's body to essentially live as a person in service of Lord Grandfather. I think that's about it. That's the stuff I really remember. And like I remember like the guy who was overseeing the orientation, the coming of age, that was Edward, who was a real piece of shit. I don't remember what specifically made him a piece of shit, but it's like essentially he passed most but not all of our heroes from the first season. But he was like really begrudging about it. Shadows are also ultra competitive with each other, like because the more useful you are, the better a shadow you are for Lord Grandfather, the more you get rewarded. There's star bearers, which are like these are like it's literally like you get a gold star. It's like they are the more, I guess they have like more authority. They have more privileges, if I'm remembering it all correctly. What I like about the show, again, like I was saying, I really like the art. I like these silhouette people. Like it's something that's just kind of creepy. There's a lot of lighting that is specifically like by candlelight or lantern light, which just adds a really nice atmosphere. You know, you're in this big mansion. You don't know what the fuck things are, where they come from. It gives it a nice spooky vibe. Like I said, the third person talking, there's soot everywhere. There's times where the show looks really dirty and dingy, and I love it. It's only because like I just kind of dig like the way 101 Dalmatians. I love like how kind of dingy and grimy the movie looks. It's like, yeah, it's a big city, like it's kind of back in the day. It almost makes sense that it sort of looks like this. I kind of dig it. Shadow's House does that too. And the fact that like it is a very physically dark show in October, it's been a pretty fun watch. Like I remember just binging the shit out of season 1. With season 2, like I'm probably not going to binge it as thoroughly because I'm still playing Kuro 2. And that is my number 1 main project right now. But I still want to get in like maybe 2-3 episodes a day going forward while I can. If I finish it by the end of the week, awesome. If not, hopefully I finish it really quickly into next week. I don't think I have a whole lot else to say at the moment other than I enjoyed it and happy Spooktober.